Okay, so we're on page 129 of the student book, and that's the blue book. So there is my contact information, and this is still Unit 10 free time for Wednesday, June the 10th, and this is our last video. This is part 3, so it's our last video for today. So on page 129, we see a picture of some celebrations. Some parties, and they are things that we typically celebrate here in the United States. So if you look in the gray box under part A, those are the words that you're going to use to label the pictures, but let's go ahead and I'll pronounce them and you can say them back to me, okay? A baby shower. A baby shower. A housewarming. A housewarming. A wedding. A wedding. Halloween. Halloween. Independence Day. Independence Day. Mother's Day. Mother's Day. New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. Okay, so those are the vocabulary words that we're going to be using. If you want to hear them pronounced again, you are welcome to rewind the video, or let me see, there's a QR reader right there, and you can hear someone else pronounce those words for you. So in the 9 pictures, we're going to use those words to label. So in the first picture, we see a turkey, a cooked turkey. So in the United States, that's a typical food that we would eat for Thanksgiving, right? So number 1 is Thanksgiving. Because we usually, that's not everybody, but most everybody, that's a big item to eat for Thanksgiving. And number 2, we see the Statue of Liberty, and we see some fireworks. That's Independence Day. Does anybody know when Independence Day is? That we celebrate that on the July the 4th of every year. Okay? And number 3, we see that they're dressed up. The bride maybe has a veil, so that's a wedding. Number 4, a housewarming. That's when maybe you moved into your first house or your first apartment, and maybe some friends and relatives come over and give you a gift, and that's a housewarming. Number 5 is New Year's Eve. We ring in the new year on New Year's Eve at midnight. So a lot of people stay out really late. And we see a little girl with her mother in number 6. And she's got a card, so that's Mother's Day. There is a Father's Day too, but it is not on this. There is a Father's Day, and it is this month in June. So, and Mother's Day is in May. The days change every year, but it's a Sunday in May. And then Father's Day is in June, okay? Number 7, we see a little boy or a little kid dressed in a costume, and we see a jack-o'-lantern, so that is Halloween. Number 8, we see a lady, and she's pregnant, and she's getting gifts, so that's called a baby shower. So that's like a little party that people have for the mother before she has the baby, so she can have the things that she needs once the baby comes. And number 9, We see a heart-shaped box with chocolates. That's Valentine's Day. Okay, so those are the some, not all, of the typical days we celebrate here in the United States. All right. We really can't talk, if we were in class, I would like for you to talk about some other days that you celebrate in your country. And we would talk about some of those. But we can talk about them when we're all together another time. So let's go ahead and make any changes that you need to, because I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and we are going to go to the workbook. And we're going to start with page 120. Okay. And once again, there's this time it's not a social media post. This time it is a email. And I'm going to go ahead and use my QR reader and play that for you.
Page 120. Exercise 1. Track 35.
Hi, Dad. How are you? We're all great here. Last night was Halloween. Halloween is the children's favorite holiday. It was a lot of fun. The children made their own costumes. I took the children trick-or-treating, and Uni stayed home to give out candy. Over 100 children came to our house for candy. After we got home, our children ate some candy, and then they went to bed. It will probably take about a month to eat all the candy. Love, Do-chan.
Okay.
This is the...
Okay, so that's the end of that email. You're welcome to listen to it again if you need to, because we're going to answer the questions 1 through 6. What is the children's favorite holiday? It says Halloween, but I would like for you to write it out like the way we always do in class. Okay, so that's the way you should be answering it, not just with Halloween. So go ahead and do 2 through 6, and then come back and we can go over them together. All right, so you should have stopped the video, did 2 through 6, and now let's go over them together. And hopefully you did them in full sentences. Okay, when is Halloween? Halloween was last night, according to the email, right? It wasn't last night here. But if you put Halloween was October 31st, that's also correct, right? Because that's when Halloween is, okay? Number 3, who made the children's costumes? The children made their own costumes, right? Number 4, who went trick-or-treating with the children? Do-chan went trick-or-treating with the children, right? And number 5, what did Uni do? Sorry, 5. Uni stayed home and home to give out candy. Okay, didn't go trick-or-treat and had to stay home to give out the candy. I'm going to scroll a little bit so we can get some more of that on the screen. And number 6, the last one, how long will it take to eat the candy? So Dochin, the dad, said it will probably take about a month to eat all the candy. So they went trick-or-treating and got a bunch of candy. They got so much it's going to take them a month to eat it. Okay, so there's your answers for number 1, part 1. If you need to, you can make any corrections. Go ahead and do part 2 and then come back, and we'll also check those together. Okay, so part 2 says match the celebrations with the items. So these are some things that would typically, doesn't have to be, but would typically be at one of these celebrations. So like Thanksgiving, I told you that a typical dish we serve is turkey. So we see D, turkey for dinner, and the answer is D. Number 2 says a wedding. In America, at a wedding, the bride will usually wear a white dress. So the answer is A. Number 3, Valentine's Day. Typical gifts that are given for Valentine's here are like chocolates, flowers, cards, and red hearts. So the answer is I. Number 4, New Year's Eve. So a lot of people don't really give gifts on New Year's Eve, but it's usually a party and people stay out late because New Year's Eve, the new year doesn't start till midnight. So you would stay out late and party. So G is your answer for number 4. Number 5, Mother's Day. Presents for mothers. So typically the children or the husband would give gifts to the mother for Mother's Day. And number 6, a baby shower. Remember, that's when a lady is pregnant and people give her gifts so she's ready and she has everything she needs for when the baby is born. But the presents are for the baby. So your answer is C, H, right? Presents for babies. A housewarming is C, presents for the house. A lot of times when you move into a new home or a new apartment, if you want to have a housewarming, people would bring you presents for your house. Wine, candles, linens, things that you would use in your home. Halloween, the answer is going to be F, candies and costumes for children. We already talked about that. And number 9, the last one, Independence Day, July the 4th, it's coming up. And that's going to be E. A lot of people barbecue and have fireworks to celebrate Independence Day. All right, so there's your answers for part 2. Now we're going to move on to workbook page 121. I'm going to finish this up. And go ahead and do 121 and then come back and we will check them together. Okay, because you should have been able to get the answers for part 3 kind of by looking at part 2. So number 1 says, I wore a beautiful white dress. There were flowers everywhere, and people gave us beautiful presents. That's a wedding. Right? So number 1 is a wedding. Okay, number 2. We went to my grandmother's house. She cooked us a big turkey dinner. That's Thanksgiving. Like I was saying, in America, we usually celebrate Thanksgiving. It's typically with a turkey, and it's typically with your family, and not just the people in your house, but a lot of your relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. It's one of the times that families all kind of get together. Number 3, the children went to all the houses in the neighborhood. My neighbors gave them candy. If the kids are getting candy from houses, it's Halloween. Trick or treat. Number 4, Last Sunday, my children brought me breakfast in bed. That's on Mother's Day. Not always do mothers get breakfast in bed, but that's kind of, some mothers do, and it's kind of a nice little surprise. And they usually get a gift. We went to a big party. At midnight, we celebrated, and we went home at 1 a.m. That would be New Year's Eve, because on New Year's, you don't ring in the New Year until midnight, right? So you would celebrate until a little after midnight. People gave us clothes and toys for our new baby. That's a baby shower, right? That's when the mother, she's still pregnant typically, but friends and family and relatives give her gifts so that she has everything she needs for when the baby comes. Now we're going to look at part 4. And once again, we see the vocabulary: a baby shower, a housewarming, a wedding, Independence Day, Mother's Day, New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving, and Valentine's Day. So we're going to put those into categories. One is going to be parties. Like, which one of these are parties? And which days have no school or work where you're off? Everything's closed. And then the last one is one where you give presents or cards. And guess what? Some of them can fall into more than one category. All right, so let's look at a baby shower. That's kind of a party. It's a party where, you know, it's for the mother, and she's getting gifts to welcome her baby, so she has everything she needs. But they also give gifts and presents at a baby shower, because that's why they're having the party. Okay, a housewarming. It can be a party, but you're definitely giving presents, because that's why you're having it. A housewarming. And it can be a party. I'm going to put that up there, because sometimes you may have a barbecue and you may have food and things. It may be a little party. Let's look at a wedding. Typically at a wedding, after the actual wedding, you're going to have a reception, which is a party. You're going to also give presents or gifts, right? So the wedding itself is not really a party, so we're going to leave that off of there. Independence Day, some people have parties for that. At their house, may have pool party because it's usually hot. May shoot fireworks. The same thing. You're also going to have typically no work or no school for Independence Day. You're going to be off. Okay? We don't really give presents or cards for that day. Mother's Day, not a real party. It's always on a Sunday, so you're already no work or no school. Okay? You don't have off. You're just already off. But you do give presents and cards. Okay? The next one we're going to look at is New Year's Eve. It is a party. And guess what? You're off school and work usually. Some places still have work, but a lot of places are off. Okay? The next one is Thanksgiving. It's not really a party. You may get together with your family, but it's not really a party. You definitely don't have school or work for most people. And you don't really give presents or cards for that day. And then the very last one we're going to look at is Valentine's Day. We don't really do parties for that. Maybe you might have a little party at school if you're a young child, a young kid, You're not off work. You have to go to work. But we do kind of give presents or cards, and sometimes a typical gift would be chocolates or flowers. All right, so those are some of the ways that we celebrate these holidays in the United States. Okay, so this is all for today. There's my information again, and if you have any questions about the class, go ahead and email me, and also put your name in the comment section down here so you get credit, and I'll see everybody back on Monday.